Chapter 5 of The Brand of Silence. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Roger Moline. The Brand of Silence by Harrington Strong. Chapter 5. The Cousin. An hour later, having parted with Detective Jim Farland, Sidney Prale walked slowly up Fifth Avenue, determined to go to his hotel suite and rest for the remainder of the evening. His conversation and short visit with Farland had put him in a better humor. There was no mistaking the quality of Farland's friendship. He and Prale had been firm friends 10 years before, when Farland was on duty in the financial district, and they had made it a point at that time to eat luncheon together when Farland's duties permitted. New York seemed a better place, even with one friend among several million persons. So Prale swung his stick jauntily and hummed the Spanish love song again, and told himself that Rufus Shepley and Kate Gilbert, old Griffin and the hotel manager and the rest of the motley crew that had made the day miserable for him, amounted to nothing in the broader scheme of things, and were not to be taken seriously. He came to a block where there were few pedestrians, where the great shops had their lights out and their night curtains up. He heard steps behind him and presently a soft voice. "Sid! Sid!" Sidney Prale whirled around, alert and on guard, for he did not recognize the voice. A medium-sized man stood before him, a man of about his own age, who had a furtive manner and wore a beard. "Don't you know me, Sid?" "Can't say that I do." "Why, I'm your cousin, George Lerton. I'm the only relative you've got in the world, unless you got married while you were away." Prale stepped aside so that the nearest light flashed on the face of the man before him. "Well, if it isn't," he said. "Didn't recognize you at first. How long have you been wearing the alfalfa on your face?" "2 or 3 years," George Lerton told him, grinning a bit. "I saw your name in the passenger list, Sid, and wanted to see you. I found out where you were stopping—" "Why didn't you come to the hotel then, or leave a note?" Prale asked. "Come on up now." I wanted to talk to you." "And I want to talk to you. What are you doing for yourself, George? Still working in a broker's office?" "Oh, I've got an office of my own now." "Getting along all right?" "Fairly well," Lerton said. "Business has been pretty good the last year." "Maybe you can dig up a few good investments for me then," Prale said. "I've got some coin now." "I understand that you're worth $1 million, Sid." "Yes, I've made my pile and came back to New York to enjoy it. But come along to the hotel." I'd rather not." "Why not? We've got to talk over old times and find out about each other. We're cousins, you know." The truth of the matter was that Sidney Prale never had thought very much of his cousin. 10 years before they had worked side by side for Griffin, the broker. There was something furtive and shifty about George Lerton, but he had never presumed on his relationship, at least. He and Sidney Prale had been courteous to each other, but never had been warm friends. They came from different branches of the family. Lerton had some traits of character that Prale did not admire, but he always told himself that perhaps he was prejudiced. They had seen a deal of each other in a social way in the old days. "Let us just talk as we walk along," Lerton now said. "All right, if you have an engagement," Prale replied. "We can get together later, I suppose. How have the years been using you? Married?" "I was. I am a widower." "Sorry," said Prale. "Children?" "No, not any children. I married Mary Slade." "What?" Prale cried. He stopped, aghast. Mary Slade had been the girl who had turned him down for a man with money, and that man had not been George Lerton, who did not have as much as $5,000 at that time. It's a peculiar story," Lerton said. "You went away so quick, after you quarreled with her. And that other man, she threw him over soon. She couldn't endure him, even with all his money. She regretted her quarrel with you. I'm quite sure she wanted you for a time. I got to taking her about. You didn't write, and she was too proud to look you up, and so, after a time—" "You married her," said Prale. "About 3 years after you went away, Sid. She died after we had been married a year." "But she always wanted money, and I had as much as you." "I made a strike soon after you left, Sid. I plunged with my 5,000 and turned it into 100,000 inside 4 months. I kept on and got more. I was worth almost $500,000 when we were married." "I see. Well, there are no hard feelings, George. She was a good woman, in a way, and I'm sorry you lost her. I suppose we'll have to get together, for old time's sake." "Are you going to stay here long, Sid?" "Long? I've sold out all my Honduras holdings, and I'm here to spend the rest of my days. I've come home for good, George. The United States is plenty good enough for me. I'm going to be a civilized gentleman from now on." You're not going back?" "Why should I? I brought that $1,000,000 with me. I left nothing in Honduras except a few friends. I suppose I'll run down there some day and see them, but this is going to be home, you can bet." "Don't do it, Sid!" Lerton exclaimed. "Don't do what?" "Don't stay here, Sid. Get out as quick as you can. Go back to Honduras, anywhere, but don't stay in New York." "Why shouldn't I? What on earth is the matter with you? Are you insane?" I can't tell you, Sid. But you are in danger if you don't leave New York. I can tell you that much. That's why I didn't call at the hotel. I'm afraid. Sid, I'm afraid to have anybody see me talking to you. If you came to my office, I'd refuse to see you." "Why?" demanded Sidney Prale in a stern voice. I can't explain, Sid." "I've endured a lot of nonsense today, and I'm not going to endure any more," Prale said. "You're going to open your mouth and tell me what you mean, if I have to manhandle you." "You can beat me until I'm unconscious, Sid, but you can't make me talk," Lerton told him. "But what does it all mean?" "You'd better go away, Sid. You'd better get out of the country and stay out." "No reason why I should. I never gave up my citizenship. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm back in my old home, and I fail to see why I shouldn't remain here if that is my wish." "But you're in danger." "In danger from what?" Sidney Prale cried. "You have powerful enemies, Sid." "Why?" I don't know exactly. But you have powerful enemies. Some of my best customers have informed me that they are through doing business with me if I have anything to do with you. They told me that before you had been back 3 hours." "Powerful enemies? Why? Business enemies?" I don't know." So that is why the bank refused my deposit, why I was turned out of a hotel, and why old Rufus Shepley raised such a row with me. Powerful enemies, have I? But there isn't sense in it. I haven't done anything to make powerful enemies, or any other kind. I'm about fed up with this stuff." "Go away, Sid. You've got money, you can live anywhere. "You bet I can.